Hey, what's up, people? My name is Simon Schuyler, and today, in partnership with Cymatics, I'm gonna show you how I make hypertrap slash hyperpop melody loops the same way I did it on Trippie Redd and Playboy Cardi Miss the Rage. For those who don't know, this loop is actually from a Cymatics pack called Odyssey. It's a free download pack. You can go check it out. There's a bunch of great loops in there. And yeah, let's just get started. So for our session today, I have some sounds that I like jamming with, get some ideas flowing. And I have this simple top drum loop just so we can get an idea of how the loop's gonna work when some other producers slap like their own drums on it. Crazy, crazy simple. I didn't even put a kick in there. It's just to get an idea, really. So the first step is going to be to have some great sounding chords. I think this is the most important part because in this genre, the chords cover such a wide range of frequency that if they don't sound good, well, your loop is just going to fall apart, right? So yeah, I'll use this chord sound here. It's not a preset. I don't really use presets just because it's faster for me to dial in the sound that I need instead of like scrolling through a bunch of folders. Sometimes for more complex sound like dubstep growls or whatever, where I don't want to waste time on them, I'll just get a preset. But for that kind of stuff, I like doing them myself. So there's this custom wavetable and like 16 voices of unison and this LFO thing here that just gives the attack some character by making the pitch go up super fast to the desired note. So to make sure that we have great chords, like a super solid tip that I can give you guys is like make sure that you have great voicing. Great chords starts with great voicing. Like voicing is just how you put the notes in your chords. So how do you play your chords, basically? If I take some random triads, well, they sound kind of boring and they just won't cut it for a hypertrap loop. But if you take the third out of every chords and put them up an octave higher, it's gonna sound like, which is already much more open and powerful. And then we can take this a step further and add some extra harmonies on top for some more sauce and color and character. So I could add an add 9 on the first chord, another add 9 on the second one, and like maybe a major 7th on the last one. So we just went from to something like, which is much more exciting to me. And yeah, now that we got this covered, I'll just record a progression that we can use for our loop. All right, so that's actually pretty good. I think we're gonna stick with that. And I'll need to quantize them to make sure that they sound tight, that the notes are the right length as well. All right, so I like where this is going. And the second step is gonna be to get a bass line. And we'll keep this super simple. I'll just take the root note out of every chords that we have in our progression and just put them on the bass track. So it's a pretty gritty layer. I like to add a bunch of distortion on my bass lines and some noise as well. Like this is without processing. And this is with, so like it has much more character, and the Saturn really gives it some more grit. And there's also some imaging on the mids and highs to really push it to the sides and make the loop feel bigger and larger than life, really. So yeah, the chords and bass together, they sound like. And now let's just take the bass track and copy it on the sub track, which is a sub I made in Massive. It's a square-ish sine wave with a little bit of saturation and some EQing, just to remove some low mids that the gritty bass line is going to cover anyway. So all of this together, it sounds like. Yeah, so it sounds already pretty good to me, and I'm just gonna find a melody now. I have a bunch of sounds here. As you can hear, the Saturn really helps my sound get more character and edge. Once again, this is like a custom preset with some homemade wavetables. Actually, no, analog BD sign. I don't know. Well, this one's probably like a stock wavetable, but yeah. So I'm just gonna try to find some melody and keep going with it. Copy this so we can have two parts to our melody. All right, so that's pretty cool. As you can see, I love adding some short notes, kind of like flam notes, or I like to call them drift-in. They just add a lot of character and life to your melody. And yeah, so I'll quantize this and make sure that it sounds good. All right, I think that's pretty cool. Now I'm gonna layer it with some more synths. I really like adding different sounds to the layers. So, for example, the first one is kind of gritty. The second one is rather fuzzy, very EDM sounding, and the third one has a lot of reverb and delay. So they all just have their own character. So when you blend them together, each sound adds something to to the mix. So we're really making some progress here. Now what we can do if you want to add some character to your loop is add like a dubstep one shot or a dubstep growl. I already have two presets here that we can use. And we'll need to make some space in the chords so we can put our like dubstep growl and not having it clash with like the whole loop. So I'll put the growl on every first and third chord of the progression. And actually, I think I'll leave the sub and just remove the bass line and the chords. All right, so the first chord is an A. And by the way, this is a preset. I didn't make this. And there's a whole bunch of like insert processing, like OTT, some imaging, a whole lot of Saturn. I really wanted it to be super nasty, some noise gate to control the sound better. You can hear how like the nasty reverb in the background gets cut quite faster. So yeah, this is it for the dubstep sound. Now I'll need to put it in the loop. So for the first loop, it was an A. The third loop is going to be an F. An F. All right, so it may sound a little bit weird that way, but you'll see why I'm putting it there for now. I think the melody might need a little bit of like nudging just to make sure that it falls right on the beat. Maybe by making it a little bit earlier, very slightly, very, very slightly. Yeah, that's much better. All right, so I mean, now that we have, well, we basically have our loop now, and what we can do to, spice things up a little bit, just the same way Loso did it for Mr. Rage, is take the loop and reverse it. So now we're gonna bounce this to audio. And of course, you don't need to do that. You can just use the loop as it is, but sometimes it just adds a little something. All right, so now we're gonna reverse this, mute the other parts. I'll run this through the mix bus. Maybe if we take the first bar and put it at the end of the progression, it might like just make a bit more sense musically. All right, so I think we have our loop now. Hopefully you liked this tutorial. Don't forget to go drop a follow on Cymatics on his Instagram. Hope you enjoyed this. Have a good one. Ciao.